Meet Nikki, Renee, and Jennifer, three middle-class moms coping with life on lockdown. We'll start with Jennifer Rogers and family in Scottsdale, Arizona. Daughter Crew is in the first grade. She's 7 years old. Son Ryland is in the third grade. He's 8 years old. When schools closed, they did distance learning. When schools reopened, they went back to a live classroom. But then schools closed again, so they Zoomed again. School has been one zigzag after another.
I know everybody is dealing with this, so I hate to say like our situation's harder than anyone else's. It's not. It's hard. The social part of my kids, seeing things get taken away and I can't explain it to them. They're afraid. They think if they go to, now school's a place where you go to get sick, because that's the only thing they can understand. We don't go to school because if we go to school, we get coronavirus. And we're like, no, not necessarily. Well, then why won't they let us back? And it's questions we can't answer.
Back when Jennifer was a local TV news reporter, it was her job to ask tough questions and get honest answers. She's still questioning authority and raising her kids to do the same.
We're trying to stay positive as parents. I mean, we tell them, these are the reasons we ask questions. This is the reason we vote. This is the reason that we never stop asking questions. And sometimes we don't be friends with people that get mad when we do ask questions. And it's a hard lesson to learn, especially being little ones.
Why do I have to wear this mask, Mommy?
Oh, they don't get any of it. They don't understand the why, they just know they have to do it now. And it breaks my heart because I was a reporter in my heyday. We always ask why. I want my kids to ask why.
Why? Why? Renee Bailey asked at this Open the Schools rally last month. Why are Los Angeles public schools still closed?
Open schools! Open schools!
Renee, a senior manager in a national biotech firm, works from home. Her 5-year-old daughter, Callie, Zooms to kindergarten right next to her. Callie was supposed to Zoom from a desk in her own bedroom, but that didn't work out.
And I thought that I could just sit her there and it's fine. No. When she's in there by herself, she's in her closet playing dress up or turning on the cartoons or just dancing around her class, everything but sitting in her chair and paying attention to the actual classroom on her computer. But you have to remember she's 5. So then I'm getting emails, I'm getting phone calls saying she's not paying attention. So I can't stop working to be in her class. So now I had to pull her out of her room and I sit her on the kitchen island while I sit next to her. I'm doing my work and she's doing hers. But even then it's not as effective because she's bored. They're just not captivating her attention. So a lot of times her head is down or her mind is somewhere else. They have to call her name several times for her to actually answer.
Callie actively participates in the virtual gym class exercises. She even smiles doing push-ups.
Push-ups and exercise.
Moving around comes naturally to a 5-year-old. Online academics, not so much.
A lot of times we're spending our evenings going over the things that she's supposed to learn in class or what I think she's supposed to be learning.
Renee wants Callie in a real classroom. Her conclusion about distance learning?
It doesn't work. For some, there is those few that can thrive with it. But for my 5-year-old, and I'm sure many others, it's ineffective.
This photo marked Callie's return to school last week after 7 months of distance learning for kindergarten. By contrast, Xander only Zoomed during the spring of 2020. He's a 5th grader in neighboring Orange County. It reopened schools last fall. His mother, Nikki, my niece, described the Zoom experience.
How did Xander do?
Xander surprisingly did pretty well, but he's more independent and able to plan out his day and structure himself to sit at the computer and check in on the Zooms and do the work. Obviously, they're 10, they're not gonna do it themselves. It's really reliant on the parents to be like a teacher. And it must be hard I'm lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom, but it must be harder for the parents that actually were able to work during the pandemic and not be able to sit at home with their kids and run the Zoom calls and do the lessons, because those kids they're gonna be behind.
This photo marks the first day back in school last September. After a slow start, Xander was nothing short of a success, and that's according to the school principal. In fact, he recently earned the Every Student Succeeding Award and the Medal of Excellence, given to just one student in the school for commitment and perseverance. So academically, Xander's doing just fine. But there's another problem. California's social distancing rules isolate kids at lunch and on the school playground.
He constantly comes home and complains about, I can't talk to my friend at lunch because he's 8 feet away from me. We can't yell and talk about personal things that we want to talk about. Recess is boring. All he does is sit. There's no physical activity because there's only one basketball that a kid can have, or there's only one jump rope or one, and if another kid gets it, then there's nothing else to do.
In other words, there's no playing with other children.
No, there's no playing with other children because there can't be any sharing of any type of equipment.
Xander, who loves playing baseball, is also missing his teammates.
Baseball got canceled 3 games into their season, so that was completely heartbreaking for him. The physical activity alone was great for him because it was practices 4 times a week, and then the games, that all stopped. He got really just discouraged and upset about it.
Tens of millions of kids miss their sports and a lot more. Band, choir, dance practices and performances, you name it, they missed out. They also missed out on the mentorship offered by their coaches and musical conductors. Coach is another word for teacher. Conductor is another word for teacher. Every one of them offers the opportunity to bond with a child, to inspire them far beyond the activity of the moment. All of that was shut down. The opportunity cost? Incalculable.
Fortunately, I'm seeing more of this lately. Teams out playing and practicing. It's a welcome sight. Kids need to be back with their teachers, on the field and in the classroom.
You can be very, very smart. We all can hit tests and we can hit metrics and we can do all of that. Having a teacher interact with a child and really make something happen in their brain, or seeing them come to school and want to learn and get excited about science or one subject over the other, or work in a group or not be able to work in a group. Those are critical life skills that we have taken from our kids.
The way we build connections is in person. You know, I think it's 80% of communication is nonverbal. You don't get that through a computer. It's so impersonal, you know, and you lose that intimacy of being in the classroom setting. So when you don't have that, you don't get to build that relationship. They don't get to learn the quirkiness about you, or you get to learn the quirkiness of them, or that routine, or just, you know, the pure joy of saying something funny and the teacher smiles. All that is missing from a computer.
Oh, my kids have lost desperately. I mean, my daughter was in kindergarten. She got ripped away. She was in remedial reading, and we never even got to a starting point, let alone an ending point. Being able to understand where they're going on a progression chart, or understanding how their social interactions are, we have none of that. I think the biggest thing for me is we'll catch up. We'll be fine. I'll do what it takes. I mean, we're fighters. I'm going to make sure my kids have every opportunity they've ever had. We read. I can do 3rd grade math. So far, so good. After this, I might be in trouble.
The moms laughed and smiled. I suspect it's their desire to shield their children from the parental stresses of the past year. Like tens of millions of parents, they try to stay positive in the face of state government policies harming their children. This is John Spiropoulos reporting.